If you're like me, you want to make chicken keeping as easy as possible. So today, we're going to do a little DIY and make chicken feeders and waters that's going to last a whole month for our chickens. So we don't have to fill it up one time a month, make the whole process a lot more simple. Let's get into it. The first thing we're going to need is a big container for both the food and the water. So here we have a 30-gallon container for water, and we have a 15-gallon container for the food. We can use a 5-gallon bucket for both or either, or a 55-gallon drum, just depending on the amount of chickens you have and how often you want to fill it up. Other things that we're going to need for this project is this kit we got off Amazon. It comes with the drill bit and the ports. This is for the feeder. Something I added, and what you might want to add, is some sort of cone. What it's going to do is sit at the bottom of the feeder and distribute the food more evenly. So this is actually a cap for a marine post down by a dock. You can use any other cone or funnel down in the bottom of the feed barrel in order to distribute the feed. And for the water, you need a pack of nipples. We bought this from Carolina Coops because we've heard great things in their videos about how these are made and that they're going to withstand the test of time. So that's good on that part. And then you'll need a drill and bits in order to drill the nipples. Some other things that aren't necessary but you might find useful and that I'm going to use today is some string, tape measure, some tape, a marker, and some scissors. So we're going to start with the water. Let's get into it. First thing you're going to want to do for the water is figure out how high from the bottom you want your nipples. So you don't want them sitting directly in the bottom because then you'll be drilling into the base of the barrel, and you don't want them too high so that you're not getting the maximum amount of water. So I'm thinking somewhere around 3 inches is a good mark for us. So I'm just going to mark on the barrel where the 3-inch line is with our marker. Next, once you have the height marked, you want to get a piece of string that's going to go all the way around your barrel at that mark in order to get the placement for all the nipples and the width of the barrel itself. So you want to pull it tight. So what we're going to do is put it all the way around, hold the spot where it was, where it overlaps. And what this is going to allow us to do is to have the length of the barrel on the string, so we know the circumference of the barrel based on that string, which it looks like for us is about 52 inches. And so from there we're going to be able to do the math to work out how far apart we want to mark to drill for each one of our holes. So we had the string that goes all the way around the barrel, found out it's 52 inches. I bought a pack of 10 nipples, but I'm thinking I'm just going to do 8, which does the math a little better because then it gives me 6.5 inches evenly between each nipple, and then it also allows me to have 2 extras in case I ever need to replace any. So what I'm going to do now is get a piece of string that is exactly the 6.5 inches that I need between the barrels, or between the nipples on the barrel. And take that, cut that, exactly 6.5 inches. Okay, perfect. So there we got. Check again. Got a 6.5 inch string. Perfect. So what we want to do is take that string, put it back around the barrel. Okay. This time we are, keep it tight, gonna tape it down. Gonna tape it down where we made those marks earlier and that we know is exactly 3 inches. And we want to go around the barrel and measure make sure it's 3 inches all the way around, because what that's going to do is allow us to try to keep as even of a line of the nipples as possible. And so we're just going to keep going around the barrel all the way, measure each time, get to that 3 inches, and then tape it up to keep it into place. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be better than if we were just eyeballing it the whole time around the barrel. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pick a point to start, wherever that's going to be, and we want to mark on our line both ends of where the nipples are going to be. So this is the piece of string that I measured that's going to be the 6.5 inches to give us the even spacing for the 8 nipples. So what I'm going to do is mark one end and mark the other end so I know where I'm going to drill the nipples, and then once I have an end marked, I'll just place the end of the string at that end and then draw again and just follow all the way around the barrel until I have all 8 of the nipples marked. If I did this right, when we get to the end, it'll perfectly line up with the one that we did at the beginning. So we got to the end, it didn't perfectly line up, so what I'm gonna do instead is just split the difference between that first one and the last one so that it's not super off comparatively. It'll just be a little bit different. And there we go. So now we have all our holes marked. We can go ahead and remove the tape and the string. The package, it says to use 11/32 or a 3/8 drill bit for the nipples. So, got our 3/8 here. What we want to do is line this up. We got it marked, and you want to try to get it as straight as possible. See the air come out. All right. Just want to test. Yeah, that looks right. All right. Looks pretty straight. Looks good to me. And we're gonna do that 7 more times. All right, so now we got all the holes drilled. Want to take these nipples, you should be able to just screw them in, push them in. And we want to make sure that the lip on the nipple is at the bottom for proper installation. You got to give it a good bit of pressure to make sure it's fully on there. Just double check behind it so I can go a little more. it's starting to feel very tight now. All right. That one should be good to go. Fits in there super snug, so that's a good sign. We'll test it out later with water, but so far so good. Just got to do that 7 more times if my hands can handle it. So I'm putting this up on top of the other barrel because now all the nipples are in it. I just got to tighten them down the last little bit, and I don't want them banging on the ground while I'm trying to do that. Let's get these tightened up and then we'll give it a test. All right, so we moved over here to where we got the hose because we got all 8 nipples in and ready to give this thing a test. All right, so we got it filled up above the nipples. Doesn't seem to be leaking anywhere, which is awesome. So we're just gonna go around, test all the nipples. All right, since this is brand new, you're gonna have to push it a couple times, open up that valve, get water to come through. Perfect. This looks awesome. It's gonna hold a ton of water for us, so this one is all set. Just gonna get started on the feeder. All right, so now we're gonna work on the feeder. I'm gonna start with the same method that we did in the water, and that is gonna measure 3 inches up like it says on the package. And so that's because this drill bit is 3 inches, so I actually want to start a little bit, about a 1/2 inch from the bottom, so we're not drilling directly in the bottom. And then you want to mark your 3-inch both sides. And now what we want to do, same thing, you're going to get a piece of string, goes all the way around barrel at that line. So now we have that, and I already measured the string, and it's going to be 42 inches with 6 feeder ports, which makes it about 7 inches apart from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing where I mark my 7 inches each time. And if I did this one right, then we should perfectly line up at the end. But last time it was a little off, so we'll see. And the verdict is, we're closer this time, so split the difference backwards and do it right there. All right. So now that we have the line, go ahead and take the tape and the line off. All right. So the kit that I got from Amazon, which will be linked below, comes with its own drill bit. Looks like this. So we're just gonna insert that into the drill. So we're going to want to line the hole up to the middle top of the drill bit to know the exact spot where we're supposed to be drilling. So you want to line it up as best as possible. So we had a slight mishap with the hole saw that was given to us in the kit, but it's okay. Fixed it up with my own drills. So now we actually got a hole in there instead of just a bunch of scrapes. So now we're good to go and got this figured out, so hopefully. So as you can see, I went pretty bad, but one lesson I can take away is you want the hole saw spinning as it makes contact. If you start trying to do it while it's contacting the barrel, it just wants to break your wrist. So now we know for next time. But got all the holes drilled, just gonna clean them up a bit and then get the feeder ports on. So now we have the holes drilled, but you can see there's a lot of basically confetti, I would call it, around the holes. So all I'm doing is taking a sharp blade and cleaning this up, scraping off those so that it's a nice clean hole without all the strings. So there's three main components of the feeder to install. So you have the actual feed port where they're going to stick their head in, you have the weatherproof seal, and you have the screw down for the outside to tighten it. So when you do this, all you need to do is put the weatherproof seal on here, put it into the hole that we just drilled, and then on the inside you'll see the actual feeder, and you'll take the screw side, and all you got to do is reach in there and tighten it down until it's nice and flush like that, and then your chickens will stick their head in there like this and get the food. And one cool thing about this kit as well is it even comes with these covers. So if you have a rodent problem at night, you can stick that cover in there, take it out in the morning. Chickens have access to food, but the rodents do not. So you just do that again, 5 more times, 6 times total, and then you'll have it all set. The last step is just to put the cone inside to create that funnel effect. I ended up exchanging the cone. The one I bought at first was a little too big, but this 5-inch one fits in perfect. Here's the finished products. You can see them in action. I built a base for the feeder, and then I put the water on the pallet to raise them up, both of them up. And then just used some scrap wood up top to build some barriers to make it harder to roost. But you can see it didn't take long at all for the chickens to get used to both the feeder and the water. It has proven out to be a nice investment, and really happy with how they turned out. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Till next time, stay Pyrfect.